Well, we should go back to a little story from the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, again one of the scriptures, where the three categories of the gods, the humans, and the demons go to the creator and ask for a blessing or a boon. And the creator just utters the syllable da and says, go and figure it out for yourself. So the gods come back a little later and say, da means dhamma. Dhamma means control of the senses. Because when one is in that highly creative state or a very pure state, it is easy to fall down very fast, to lose control. And so the gods got the message that they should be controlling their senses. The humans got the message as dana or sharing. I like the word sharing more than giving, because giving is more, you're giving down, but sharing is more equal. And humans got the message as dana because there is a tendency for humans to hoard. We hoard everything at the physical level, on the emotional plane, we hoard our emotions. We are prone to hoarding. And so dana or sharing was the message given to the humans. And the demons were given the message daya. Daya means compassion, because they are so engrossed in themselves. Their world is all about the I, me, mine, myself, that they were given the message that they should be more compassionate. So dana is always been a part of our culture. Our scriptures have repeatedly stressed on dana. Even when you go into the Skanda Purana, you know the story of how the Pandavas spent 12 years in the forest after they lost the game of dice. Yes, Vanavas. So at that time, Arjuna goes on his own journey. And at one point, he meets up with sage Narada. And Narada gives him a whole description of the different kinds of dana. This is found in the Skanda Purana. So there are many different kinds of dana. We will not go into all the details. But after talking about all of this, the scriptures tend to tell us that Annadan is the highest form of sharing. So you can have Annadan, Vastradan, Arthadan, Dharmadan. There are many different kinds of dan that we can do. But the two of the best are Annadan and Vidyadan. Vidya is wisdom or knowledge. Yes.
This is exactly what you're doing right now on the show, sharing this wonderful wisdom with us.
But wisdom is slightly higher. I'm more at the level of sharing information.
Okay. Thank you for sharing this information.
So it says generally Annadan takes care of the immediate need, and Vidyadan takes care of the long-term need. As I spoke earlier, the Shreyas and the Prayas. And so it is so important that we learn to share. And there's a state of mind in which we share. We can do unconditional sharing, which is what is most advisable. But many a time we get into the mode of transactional sharing or inappropriate sharing. Both of those really don't help. It neither helps the receiver nor the giver, because in the larger cycle of karma, we get adverse results. But the unconditional sharing food, especially those who have the capacity to create abundance, should share with those who do not have a similar capacity. This is beautifully explained in many of our scriptures on many different occasions. In the Bhagavad Gita also you see it. So at Vaidigram, we chose to consciously engage in this activity because we believe that a healthy, happy community, a healthy, happy, contented community around Vaidigram will significantly contribute to the healing energy across the community. So that is how we started sharing from the very early days of Vaidigram.
Beautiful. Doc, I took the liberty of sending some of our transformers a few messages with regards to them giving us questions for you to answer. So I'd love, to toss those questions at you from some of our followers and see, have you kind of take it head on. The first one is from Poonam, my mother.
That's going to be tricky.
She says, the sea can be as turbulent on the outside, but so calm and still in its depth. How can we get to that calmness for mental well-being?
Practice, abhyas. The single solution for all problems is abhyasa. Recognition that it is only hard work that will reach us to our goal. The way an Olympic gold medalist puts in years of training, years of hard work to reach the goal. A simple example I give is to fall requires no effort. The law of gravity will help us to fall effortlessly. But to rise requires intense effort. And to fly requires a lot greater effort. So abhyas is the only solution.
But Doc, for mental well-being, calmness of the mind, what is the kind of abhyas we're talking about?
So it can be chanting, it can be meditation, it can be silence, it can be introspection, it can be breathing. There are so many different ways that we can work with ourselves. And there are multiple roads, multiple paths to the same goal. We have to choose that which we are comfortable with, or go with what a teacher chooses for us, either of them.
The next one is from Arjun. He says, what does Ayurveda think of fasting to heal diseases like tumors, cancer, etc.?
In an inflammatory process, the first solution that is given by Ayurveda is fasting. And the Sanskrit word for fasting is upavas. Upavas literally means being with yourself. This means that it is not just fasting from food, but fasting in thought, word, deed, and food, which literally translates as complete physical and mental rest. When we are able to engage in complete rest, then the fasting on many an occasion activates the inner healing mechanism. On our own, we can heal, and we need very little support from outside. But when we don't do this, when we don't adopt fasting as the first remedy, and we allow the condition to advance, that is when we need more different kinds of intervention, whether it's in terms of food or medicine or any other kind of intervention. But certainly Ayurveda loves fasting, done properly.
So interesting.
Not the modern kind of fasting. Not the modern kind of fasting where we alternate between fasting and feasting.
Guilty as charged. So, Doc, I stumbled upon a very interesting thought, or rather insight, shared by Johns Hopkins University, where they said that
while Ayurveda can have positive effects when used as a complementary therapy in combination with standard conventional medical care, it should not replace standard conventional medical care, especially when treating serious conditions.
I don't think any medical system can claim to have absolute solutions for all conditions. Every medical system has got its own strengths and weaknesses. And on some occasions, they can stand alone. And on some occasions, they need support. So even, in the COVID-19 situation where currently nobody knows what to do or how to manage it, just now we are beginning a study in Chennai, in a hospital in Chennai that admits COVID-19 patients. We are planning to work with just 15 patients with a combination of Ayurveda and allopathy to see if this can be a better solution. Even if we can, reduce the number of days in terms of the recovery, or we can enable patients to be discharged faster from the hospital, it is a significant intervention. So I don't think any of us can claim to be God and say that I have the solution for all the problems. Sometimes I can work independently, sometimes I need to work in association with others. And I think it will be most beautiful if people can come together in the common interest of the patient or the ailing humanity instead of trying to prove that I am better or you are better.
Beautiful. So the next one, Doc, is from Mansi. And she's asking you, COVID and ego, any correlation?
I haven't thought about it. I was trying to refrain from talking about the ego, but somewhere it keeps coming into the conversation wherever I go. Like I said earlier, the teachers have used the word adharma. Adharma engaged in by the leaders of the society and then percolating down to the rest of the society is what leads to a pandemic, is what the teachers have referred to. And that adharma is typically engaged in by one who functions from the ego. Because if we are functioning with clarity, if we are functioning from the Atma or the Buddhi is the discerning intellect, then we will be functioning on a dharmic plane. We will be going with the right conduct, the right action, the right thoughts. But we are now faced with a situation where the entire world is being engulfed by this pandemic. And typically that is an outcome of adharma, which can happen only when we function from the ego. So in that context, the ego is certainly playing a big role. On another note, very briefly, when Ayurveda talks about the pathophysiology of all disease, as it puts the flow chart, the ego plays a prominent role there in the creation of any condition. The sense of I am, I own, I do, all of these spaces contribute significantly to the creation of attachment, to the creation of desire, to the creation of the absence of the discerning intellect, to moving into wrong thoughts, wrong actions, wrong food. All of this is created because one is functioning from the I space. And that is why the V space is so important. As somebody said, even in the English language, the journey from illness to wellness is replacing the I with the we.
Lovely. I feel like the ego can be an independent episode on Transform with Neha with you.
Absolutely.
Ayush, who wants to know, can I somehow practice Ayurveda and have my meat?
Ayurveda is definitely not against anything. Ayurveda views everything in this world as food, everything as medicine. There is nothing that is universally good or universally bad in Ayurveda. Having said that, so obviously we can eat meat where we want to. But having said that, at the level of the mind, the meat can actually weaken the mind. It can move the mind more easily into the aggressive, depressive spaces rather than the clear space. For those of you who know, it is the sattva, rajas, tamas state of mind. Sattva is the clear space, rajas is the active or aggressive space, and tamas is the restful or the depressive space, depending on how active it is. So most of the meat fall into the aggressive, depressive states, while many of the vegetables and milk and ghee are all activating the sattva space or the clear space of the mind. Fresh food, local food, seasonal food, all of this contributes to the mind becoming more clear in the thought process, the meditative state of the mind. And so, while Ayurveda has nothing against meat, we recommend that it is better to be vegetarian. At some point, we can, or you can ask one of your future interviewees about a different Gita in the Mahabharata, which is called the Vyadha Gita or the Butcher's Gita. The butcher is giving a Gita, a sermon to a Brahmin who is supposedly wise. And the butcher is actually teaching the Brahmin a far greater truth than he actually knew. But that is for another day.
Was that truth? Now that completely piqued my curiosity, say more.
Well, to disappoint you, the butcher says very clearly that he does not eat the meat, and he is only selling or cutting and selling meat of already dead animals. He is not killing an animal for to sell. And he says that this is my family business, and I'm just continuing with it to the extent that it looks after my family. The context is that this highly wise Brahmin, while in meditation, a crow made some noise or let go of its droppings onto the Brahmin, and the Brahmin was so angry that he looked with anger at the crow and burnt it to ashes. And later was happy that he had that power, that he could actually, he never knew that he could burn the crow to ashes. And then later he goes, for his daily alms, begging for his alms. And when he reaches a house, the lady of the house keeps him waiting for a few minutes. And then when she comes out with the food, the Brahmin starts to look at her very angrily because he was unhappy at being kept waiting. And the lady replies, I am not the crow that you could burn me to ashes. And the Brahmin is shocked. How could this lady know what he had done? So then he, asked her, how did she know? And she said, I'm not the person to explain to you. You go to the neighboring town where there is this butcher, and he will give you greater truths. And that is how he reaches the butcher's place. The butcher already knows again why he has come. And then he gives him the butcher's Gita, basically talking about dharma and satya and everything. And then tells him, you will do well if you go back and first look after your aged parents, because you have forgotten your dharma and gone into the study of the scriptures. Thereby, you have information, but those scriptures will not actually work for you till you complete your dharma. And that is how he goes back and looks after his parents. So that is the nutshell of the story.
Lovely, lovely. And one last question.
How do we know if an Ayurveda brand or medicine is safe for ingesting and free from steroids or toxic metals without FDA or any such certification?
Well, we should try to make a differentiation between herbal and Ayurveda. Uh, Chavanaprash is herbal when it is bought off the shelf and consumed as I wish. Chavanaprash becomes Ayurveda when it is prescribed for my specific condition, taking into account all my parameters by a learned and experienced Ayurveda practitioner. So we should always make this distinction, because many a time today the word Ayurveda is loosely applied. Once we have made this distinction, then we know that when a practitioner is working with us, the practitioner will ensure that we get the right quality of medicines from whichever place it is, but the practitioner would recommend a good quality product. Apart from that, it is, we should also go by reputed brands, reputed names if we are buying off the shelf. Um, while people have made such a big hue and cry about the metallic mineral content in Ayurveda medicines, um, it is a fact that in some medicines, metals and minerals are consciously and deliberately used to enhance the healing quality of those medicines. And that's a small percentage. We are not talking about every Ayurveda medicine. So generally the Ayurveda medicines are safe. Just as, you can have spurious quality medicines even in allopathy. In any system, in any enterprise across the world, you can have spurious or dubious quality products. So it is not applicable only to Ayurveda. I retain my faith in the goodness of people and the goodness of companies, and I believe that most of them are working with a sincere desire to reach good quality products to the people. If there is that odd product which is not meeting the standards, that might be either unintentional or deliberate, depending on that particular manufacturer or person. But by and large, I believe that Ayurveda products are safe, and that where metals and minerals are there, it is used deliberately and consciously to improve the healing potential of that product.
Doc, as you spoke about also in the interview, that yoga today is this phenomenal global brand, and people seem to associate, unfortunately, yoga more with physical well-being and weight management. But it's so much more to yoga than that. Do you have the same concern with Ayurveda, and that might also be one of the consequences with Ayurveda as well, as it gets more and more popular and adopted into people's lives?
Well, that is the law of nature. There will always be a little adharma associated with dharma. And it is left to the individuals to use their discerning intellect, to use their buddhi, the viveka buddhi, and be able to know what is appropriate and what is not. Because this is an imperfect world that we live in, and we have to live with all kinds of people, all kinds of products, all kinds of branding, all kinds of marketing. That is a part of life today. That is Kali Yuga. So I'm not concerned about it, because if Ayurveda has survived so many thousands of years, it will certainly survive another few thousands of years without the support of any of us.
But thank you for supporting Transform with Neha and joining us here on the show. Once again, thank you so much for all the knowledge and all the information that you've shared with our transformers to take back home. Maybe take something from what you shared with us, a few tips, how to incorporate Ayurveda into your daily life. and so much more. So thank you so much. And I'm going to, after this interview, go and read up on the butcher's version of the ghee at length.
Please do so. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
It was
Take
great
care
speaking.
and stay safe.
Thank you.